Welcome everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Andy Tiller, EVP for Products and Services at TM Forum, and today I will be showing you how you can gain the essential skills needed to be part of successful telecoms IT transformation projects. In fact, now that the network is increasingly becoming software, many of these core IT skills are equally applicable in the network world. If you have any questions, please post them into the regular chat panel on the Zoom panel below. Then if you post them there, everybody can see them, and I'll do my best to answer them at the end. If you post questions into the Q&A, then those will be handled in writing privately. But if you'd like your question to be visible to everybody, please post it into the chat window. Okay, let's get underway. First, a quick word about TM Forum, for any of you who don't know us well. We're a global non-profit industry organization, traditionally working with our members to define blueprints, frameworks, and standards for telecoms IT transformation. But as our membership has broadened to over 800 organizations from all parts of the industry, so our remit has expanded to enable all kinds of digital business underpinned by communications technology. One of the things that TM Forum does is industry research through senior level interviews, as well as wide industry surveys. And we're seeing a very consistent pattern that our industry needs new digital talent, either through bringing in the next generation of professionals or else by upskilling existing staff. 85% of the companies we surveyed admit to being in this position. They need new skills. We also know that up to 40% of existing roles will be redundant a decade from now, as new technologies require changes in the way we work. In fact, people and culture are already the biggest factor causing transformation projects to fail in our industry. So what's driving the need for these new skills and new talent? The primary reason is that the pace of change in our industry is now so fast that our old systems and processes and operating models are no longer fit for purpose. We have new technologies such as 5G, multi-access edge computing, AI, network slicing. All of these bring opportunities for greater cost efficiencies, sustainability, and revenue growth, especially in enterprise vertical markets such as healthcare, manufacturing, and connected vehicles. But these new technologies are more complex, with more options and parameters to optimize, and they can't be managed in the same way that we used to operate for older generations of technology. This, combined with competitive pressures and high customer expectations raised to very high levels by the experiences delivered by the hyperscale internet companies, means that we need a profound change in the way we design, build, and operate our systems and processes. So why are systems and processes so important? It's all to do with how we take an idea and turn it into value. We call it here concept to cash. But what I'm really talking about here is not necessarily just launching new services where we're actually talking about selling something directly to an end customer. It could equally well be an idea, a concept for improving customer experience, where the value delivered is in terms of customer lifetime value and customer loyalty. Or it could be an idea, a concept for reducing operational costs, creating greater operational efficiency, where the cash is lower operating costs, so profit to the bottom line. So the key concept is almost anything that we want to change. Any new idea we want to implement to improve our business requires changes in systems and processes. Anytime we want to implement a new idea, we need to change our IT and network systems and adapt our operating processes. And this has traditionally been a major bottleneck to change in our industry. It's been a very slow process. We have built up a large technical debt with a lot of customized software in our IT systems, which is expensive to maintain and very slow to update. And that's combined with fragile processes with overly complex interdependencies between them. So it's very difficult to change one thing without and being sure that you're not going to inadvertently affect something else. Furthermore, our traditional way of working has separated the different parts of the process of changing systems and processes, think, design, build, and operate, into different teams. So that has been a sort of traditional way of working for many industries, a sort of waterfall approach to delivering IT projects and the roadmap. And the handoff from one team to another is slow and inefficient. So like other industries, our industry has shifted these days towards a much faster, more agile DevOps approach to accelerate concept to cash, where now we bring the people who specialize in the business requirements, the enterprise architecture, software development, and operations together into the same team. And we go round the feedback loop much faster. So think, design, build, and operate is executed by a single team responsible for delivering the whole project. So the internet companies have led the way really in creating a lot of these new working methodologies and practices, and also a lot of tools and software which they've freely shared for others to use. We can take advantage of agile methodologies and open source technologies to help our industry improve as well. However, these tools and technologies alone won't solve our industry's problems. There's a crucial missing ingredient. Unlike the hyperscale internet companies, the companies in our industry typically don't have tens of thousands of software engineers all working to the same plan. They don't have the same de facto company standards. Our IT and network estates typically comprise dozens, if not hundreds, of systems which have been built over many years by different software vendors, system integrators, and in-house IT developers. And if we all start to use these cloud-native technologies in our own unique way, then we will end up building more customized software, spending a fortune on integration, and accumulating more legacy technical debt. It will just be cloud-native technical debt. Changing systems and processes would then continue to be a slow process. So our industry needs a new approach to designing, building, and operating our systems and processes, which needs to be developed by agreement, by us collectively as an industry, a collaborative effort by all parts of our supply ecosystem. And that's what TM Forum's members have been doing with the thing we call the open digital architecture. This is the missing ingredient. So ODA is an enterprise architecture blueprint for open digital platforms. It's designed to replace the traditional telecoms software stack of operation support systems, business support systems, network management systems, with a new modular cloud-native software architecture comprising reusable software building blocks. We call these ODA components. And these software building blocks are much easier and cheaper to deploy and integrate and upgrade. It's like building your IT and network software estates out of Lego building blocks. So ODA contains practical machine-readable frameworks and tools and code covering all aspects: think, design, build, and operate. Parts of ODA are very mature and widely used by the industry, such as the business process framework, known as ETOM, the Enhanced Telecoms Operation Map, and the information framework, known as SID, Shared Information and Data, and the open APIs. These are already mature, widely used, and are continuing to evolve to meet new market needs through our active member-led collaboration projects in the TM Forum. Other parts of the open digital architecture represent the cutting edge of our members' work. In particular, at the moment, the detailed specification of the ODA components, the software building blocks, and those are part of the build sector of ODA. And also the specification of the deployment patterns for the operating environment they run in, which we call the ODA canvas. So ODA itself is a mixture of very mature assets and assets which are still under active development. ODA defines an end state, the so-called 2B architecture, but the starting point for most of our industry is quite far from this ideal state. and getting to the ideal state requires a gradual migration process. So to help guide this transformation to ODA and the successful use of ODA by the industry, TM Forum members have created a set of tools and data and other assets which complement ODA. And we call this complete portfolio the Open Digital Framework, or ODF. So ODF comprises ODA together with its transformation tools and guidance. ODF deals with the application of ODA to reduce operating costs, to improve customer experience, and to enable revenue growth through new products and services. Currently, we have 107 TM Forum member companies who have signed a manifesto publicly committing to adopt the open digital architecture and to contribute to its development and evolution. In fact, in practice, many more companies are contributing to ODA and using it. For example, we have over 1,000 professionals from 260 companies who've participated just in the last 12 months in our collaboration work building ODF. 35,000 software developers from more than 2,400 companies have downloaded our open APIs. They're an essential part of the ODA implementation architecture. And 26,000 professionals have already been certified, having completed training and passed exams in the various aspects of ODF. And in the rest of this presentation, I'm going to explain the scope of TM Forum's training and certifications program and how you can access these training courses and this information. So our training curriculum is based on the Open Digital Framework, covering all aspects of the open digital architecture, as well as the application of ODA to digital transformation, to customer experience, to business assurance, to ecosystem partnerships, and more. I'll just pick out a few of the courses here to give you a flavor for how it's structured. The foundation in all aspects of ODF and ODA is the Open Digital Framework Overview training class. It lays the groundwork and explains how the various parts of ODF are integrated into a single framework, and it forms the basis for all of the skill path certifications, which I will tell you about in a moment. In the business architecture section of ODA, we have training in our business process framework, ETOM. So ETOM is a very mature resource, which is already widely used by the industry as a common language for the building blocks of business processes. Actual process flows for customer journeys and for operational procedures can and needs to vary widely between suppliers and between markets. The different requirements of local markets in terms of customer expectation, the different regulatory regimes and so on mean that it's not possible to create a set of completely standardized business processes to operate throughout our entire industry, throughout the world. But it is possible to create a set of fundamental building blocks out of which those processes can be constructed, a common language, a common structure. And all of this is defined in ETOM. By the way, here you'll notice a pattern that in most of our training we have two levels. There is a fundamentals training course, which provides a foundational understanding. Those courses typically can be taken online, self-paced through our learning portal. And then there is a more advanced practitioner's course, which provides a much deeper understanding of the practical application of the particular topic, in this case, ETOM, to real-world use cases. And those practitioner classes are generally expert-led by an expert in the subject. That can be either online or face-to-face. Another one here in the information systems sector of ODA. So this is related to design. Here we have training in our information framework, SID, which is another very mature industry asset, widely used by the industry as a common information model defining the business entities used in telecoms and the relationships between them. For example, what we mean when we talk about products or services or resources, these are terms which have a very specific meaning in our industry, and all of that has been agreed and is defined and laid down in the SID model. Very, very helpful as we begin to use that in the next section here I'm going to talk about, which is the open APIs. SID provides the information model on which the real data models are used for open APIs. These are part of the ODA implementation architecture. The open APIs provide a standardized interface between the software applications which make up the IT and increasingly network estates. And they're used both to simplify internal integration and also to expose IT and network capabilities externally to ecosystem partners, making it possible then to collaborate more easily to provide global services for global vertical market customers such as manufacturing, healthcare, and so on. TM Forum members have together defined more than 60 open APIs, and our training here provides the knowledge needed to use them effectively. Finally, I'd just like to highlight here an area of our curriculum which is under active development at the moment with a lot of focus from our members, and that is the use of AI and machine learning to support operations, whether it's network operations to optimize network performance or customer operations, optimizing customer experience. AI and machine learning are increasingly being used these days as a way to handle the complexity of modern networks and modern IT systems. So the number of parameters to tune on a 5G network or to configure when creating a network slice on demand for a customer are too great. It's too complex for human beings to manage all of that manually. Automation is in place through business rules, but increasingly those business rules need to be developed through AI, and AI needs to be in control of the network operations and customer operations. And TM Forum members have been very actively working over 3 or 4 years now to develop the tools and best practices for applying AI consistently at scale and safely at scale to do this. It's something that the industry is beginning to experiment with as a way to improve efficiencies and create new business opportunity, but it's also something that needs a very strong governance, and that's something that TM Forum members have been working on. They now have created a lot of exciting and important assets which we're currently in our training curriculum building into training classes, which we will launch over the next few months. So I mentioned before that our training is available both for individuals and also for company groups through a variety of delivery options. So all of the overview and fundamentals classes are available as self-paced learning via our training portal. They can be accessed and purchased online by individuals or by larger groups via the TM Forum engagement team. They're also available as expert-led training classes with either virtual delivery or face-to-face training, typically in small groups of perhaps 10 or so students. And in fact, we were very pleased just recently to go back to delivering face-to-face training, the first time in a couple of years as the industry gets back to normal working after COVID. We are getting back to delivering face-to-face training for organizations, typically TM Forum member organizations who want training on site. So the practitioners training is generally, as I mentioned, expert-led only. So you won't be able to take those courses via our online portal. But the benefit of doing the expert-led training, you can still do it online in a group, but it's important to have an expert there who really knows the subject in depth. It's a more interactive style of course where we can deal with specific issues, specific use cases and scenarios relevant to your company, and do that training for a group of professionals within your company. All of the courses have exams, and TM Forum awards certifications to professionals who pass these exams. And we also provide a higher level, which we call skill pass certifications, for users who complete a set of courses in a specific discipline. So let's take, for example, the Open API skill path. This starts with taking the ODF overview. That's the foundation course I mentioned, which gives a basic grounding in all of the Open Digital Framework, sets the context, explains how all of the different parts of ODF link together. And so that's the foundation of all of the skill paths. But then for the Open API specialism, the skill path comprises the Open API Fundamentals course and the SID Fundamentals course. SID because the information framework is the basis for the data model used by the APIs. So it's important to understand both SID and the API structures. And then there's the expert-led Open API Practitioners class. So professionals who complete this full set of courses and pass the exams at the end receive an Open API Skill Path certification badge, which we award, and you can use that as part of your professional career development. We have skill path certifications in a lot of different disciplines. So we have a number of them here. Both on the left-hand side, you can see aspects of ODA, such as the business process skill path, the information framework skill path, the Open API skill path. We're developing the ODA components skill path. I mentioned earlier that ODA components are still in very active development and specification. And in the middle, the ODA system skill path. So there are some roles in the industry where individuals have to have a detailed knowledge of all aspects. So if you're a solution architect, if you are working for a system integrator, if you are perhaps in a software vendor in a pre-sales role, you need to understand the broad scope in a bit of technical depth. Not as deep as somebody who's specializing in the business processes or in the information framework and so on, who have a very specialist role. But you still need there's still a skill path certification available for your role, detailing a broader scope of knowledge about all aspects of the open digital architecture. So those are on the left. On the right-hand side, we've got skill path certifications in the detailed applications of ODA to different disciplines. So revenue assurance, for example, digital transformation and digital maturity, customer experience, digital ecosystems. So these are more practical application areas where we're looking at how ODA can specifically be used to enhance these important outcomes for the industry. Professionals who undertake TM Forum training can expect to gain benefits both for their company and also for their careers. So these results you can see on the screen here are from a survey of over 650 students who took part in a structured training program. You can see that they reported improvements in their daily work, in the projects that they're working on, including better scoping of those projects, including clearer communication between suppliers and end customers, with partners, better solution designs, and faster delivery of their projects. All of these are scored out of 5. You can see that students mark these. The training gave them improvements in all of these areas. They were scored all above 4 out of 5. The students also reported that the training brought them useful new skills and professional acknowledgement and better career prospects. 84% of those students are using the skills and knowledge obtained in their TM Forum training in their daily work. And the students in this survey are reporting on the right-hand side. You see there new skills, professional acknowledgement, career development, and so on. So I mentioned that these students were part of a structured career program where the TM Forum training was integrated into their organization's wider career development programs. And here's a selection of, in this case, it's some European communication service providers who've integrated TM Forum training into their company universities or their career development paths. We have similar examples worldwide, including software vendors and system integrators, as well as CSPs. But you can see here Vodafone, for example, integrates TM Forum education programs for software developers and architects embedded into the Vodafone University. They've trained 175 professionals certified in ETOM and open APIs. BT does a similar thing with its career development competency framework. They've recently trained 130 students and solutions architects in SID and open APIs. Telia has a mixture of self-paced and expert-led classes where we've trained 70 professionals since 2020. And Deutsche Telekom, they actually do our training through a partner. Detacon is a large IT services and system integration arm of Deutsche Telekom itself, operating worldwide. And they actually carry out TM Forum training inside Deutsche Telekom, and they've trained 300 Deutsche Telekom professionals since 2020 as well. So these are examples where there's a structured approach, but if you're an individual and you just want to get started, you can do that individually just through our training portal via our website. But if you want to train as part of a group, or if you're responsible for your company's learning and development program, then we'd be very happy to talk to you about how to do this training much more efficiently and perhaps integrate it into your organization's similar career development paths. I mentioned that we've got lots of other companies doing this. So here are some of the companies whose staff have completed at least 400 or more courses. On our website, you can find the testimonials from the senior executives in those companies who championed these training initiatives. They describe specifically how their companies are benefiting from the new skills and knowledge that their employees have gained through their TM Forum training. So I'll leave you to click through if you're interested to hear their stories, but there's lots of reasons why these companies are taking the TM Forum training and integrating it into their corporate learning and development paths. 2021 was actually a very exceptional year for training, I think worldwide, not just TM Forum, but all of the training industry, because a lot of professionals took the opportunity to upskill during COVID lockdowns. In our case, we certified more than 6,000 professionals last year from over 230 companies. This year, we are seeing these professionals using their skills as they go back to work on their IT and network transformation projects, and hearing very exciting things about how those students are progressing in their careers. And not only that, but we're seeing many of them actually not just using those skills in their day job, but building on the TM Forum training by taking part in other TM Forum activities, our communities, our collaboration programs, our Catalyst projects. There's a well-known principle in education that formal learning provides a foundation, but it only makes up about 10% of the knowledge and skills that we acquire. The rest of our knowledge and learning comes from social learning, from peers, and from experiential learning, where we actually put these skills into practice in our daily work. So in addition to being able to do that, of course, in your own companies, TM Forum provides a lot of opportunities for social and experiential learning, as well as formal learning that we've discussed today. We don't have time to go into all of TM Forum's activities right now, but I'd encourage you to explore the TM Forum website for more details. We have a lot of community groups so you can meet your peers from other parts of the industry worldwide and get to know how they approach different aspects of, perhaps solving the same problems that you're working on in your day job today. Also in our collaboration work, the projects I mentioned, which are defining and building the Open Digital Framework, the Open APIs, the ODA components, evolving ETOM, SID, and the other assets. All of these provide opportunity for hands-on experiential learning, which perhaps is an opportunity to do things that or be involved in some things which broaden experience beyond what you currently have in your day jobs. So that's a quick introduction to a lot of things that TM Forum is doing. Please consult the website where you will find full details of those activities, and you'll also find further details of the training courses and access to our training portal to start your own exploration of the Open Digital Framework. So that's all I have today. So thank you very much for your attention and for attending. I'm happy to stay around and answer questions if anybody has any that they would like to post into the chat window. Or to the Q&A. I can see we actually have one in the Q&A. Ah, it's just welcome. All right. Well, I hope that was useful. There will be a recording of this session, so you'll be able to replay if you're interested. We will also distribute the slide pack. And thank you very much once again for attending today.